What is going on, everybody? It's Nick Willard from Almost Canon podcast. So this week we covered objects of immortality. Now we went through all sorts of different objects that we've seen throughout the historical record, from the Fountain of Youth to the Philosopher's Stone. Or fans of Harry Potter would know it as the Sorcerer's Stone. And one thing that really caught my attention was how, most of these objects of immortality are objects that the gods, would eat. They would have to eat these objects in order to not only become immortal, but to stay immortal. There is story after story, whether it's Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Chinese mythology, over and over and over again, we hear these stories of how the gods, whether it's these beings are Fae, Nephilim, what have you, whatever it is, they have to continuously eat these objects in order to stay alive. So in Greek mythology, we have ambrosia and nectar. In Chinese mythology, there's the golden peach. Every 6,000 years, the 8 immortals have to eat the peaches. Just like in Greek mythology, they eat the ambrosia. The ambrosia turns their blood into ichor, and that is how they continue to stay youthful. And same goes for North mythology. We have the golden apples, Idun's golden apples, and there's stories. There's a famous story where the ice giants, they take Idun, they trick her, they take her hostage, and the Norse gods, they're not able to eat these apples, and they get old, and they force Loki, who was obviously behind this plot, to go and get her back. Now, like I said earlier, another object that we covered was the Philosopher's Stone. When you think of the Philosopher's Stone, obviously it can turn base metals into gold, as well as produce the elixir of life. And when you hear the elixir of life, you think it's producing some sort of liquid. Some sort of liquid comes out of the stone. You catch that liquid in a cup, you drink it, ta-da, right? You're immortal. Apparently that's not how it works. You actually have to eat pieces of the stone. What you do is you would chip or shave bits of the stone off. You would dissolve those shavings or chippings into most likely wine, and you would drink the wine. This is very, very interesting to me. There's just something going on. I don't believe in coincidence. There's so many coincidences throughout history. I find it hard to believe that's all they are. And the fact that these objects, the majority of these objects are something you either have to eat or drink to a lesser degree, but most of them are objects you have to eat, just like the stone. Now, this has to be back in the winter. Several months ago, I did an episode on Shambhala or Shangri-La. And within that episode, we talked about the Hunza people who live in the Hunza Valley, northern Pakistan, at the base of the Himalayan mountains. Well, not necessarily the base of the mountains, but, lower in the Himalayan mountain range. And these Hunza people are, they are widely known to live extraordinary long lives, upwards of 120 years. Most of them live that old. And people have found this fascinating for decades now. In the 1990s or 1980s, National Geographic went and literally studied these people. I don't necessarily know how long they studied them for, but they went over everything you could possibly go over to figure out why these Hunza people are living for so long. And, I put forth the idea that it was because they lived in, or somewhere near the opening to Shambhala, the portal to Shambhala, and somehow, just like what we've been talking about, the residents of Shambhala are immortal. So, what I truly found interesting about this was the fact that the Hunza people attribute their excessively long lives to the apricots that they eat. That is too much of a coincidence for me. Apricots. We hear apples, peaches, apricots. I mean, there's something going on here. And even now, I'm piecing this stuff. It's just thoughts are running through my mind, and I don't know what's behind this, and I don't know if anything is behind this. However, I find it fascinating that they're talking about apricots, another food, another fruit, that they eat in order to live these long lives. Now, they're not necessarily immortal, however, they are living and live a lot longer than anybody else in the world. So I don't know. Are these apricots? Does this have something to do with Shambhala, the land of the gods? I mean, I don't know. But it definitely sounds almost canon to me.